Welcome back, Blue Liners. Here today, me and Adam come to fulfill a much requested video. This is going to be the video of how we bow and arrow cast. But before we get into it, we want a couple things you have to know about bow and arrow casting. Bow and arrow casting is a very specialized cast. It's not a cast you're going to make on every creek that you fish or with every rod. If you can make an overhead cast, traditional cast, that's great. If you can roll cast, it's great. If you can water haul, where you put the fly behind you, pick it up and put it above you, it's awesome. If you're in a creek, as you look upstream right here, you have a lot of room in places. You have pretty tight spots, and so that's where you're going to bow and arrow cast. So we're going to cover a couple of common misconceptions, and then we're going to work our way up this little creek right here and fish a few pools and show you how we bow and arrow cast. So the biggest thing you see people bow and arrow casting is they're going to hold the fly, they pull back on the rod, it waves around like this, and then they hook themselves in the finger. That's what I see when I was a guide and try to show people how to bow and arrow cast. That's the pretty common first mistakes. So a couple of things you want to know about when you hold the fly, we'll come for a close-up, is on your typical dry fly, this being a wolf style dry fly, you can hold the actual tail if you hold the fly when you go to cast. And then all you have to do is just release your fingers and it'll go flying out. The other way you can make a bow and arrow cast is to hold up the leader from the fly. This is maybe a foot. You do this, put a little pressure on your rod, let go, and it'll shoot out. The final way you can bow and arrow cast is if you need to make a longer cast, you can actually come and hold maybe towards the end of your fly line or just a short distance down your leader and cast, and it'll shoot out. So those are three ways to hold your fly to start with. If you're holding onto this fly and you have the hook bend behind your fingers, there's a good chance when you let go it's going to go into your fingers. So you want to hold behind that hook or pinch at the bend of the hook. That's the biggest thing, people get their fingers stuck. It's not the end of the world, you just pull it out and keep fishing, but that's the biggest thing. Okay, we'll start off with step number one. Today we got this JP Ross 66X glass. Perfect rod for bow and arrow casting. Also, like the Beaver Meadow would be great for this. Really, honestly, truly any short fly rod that's about 7 feet or less is good for bow and arrow casting. I would say maybe the 6.5 to 5.5 footers, 5 footers are even better. But what you're going to do, the first thing you want to do is, if you take this rod and you flex it, holding the rod normally and flex it, you can watch the tip here. When you let go, it slams the tip down. And what happens is, when you go to cast and you're real tight, when you slam that tip down, it kind of kills the distance your fly gets. So the first thing you want to do when you get ready to bow and arrow cast is take your rod and roll this reel where it's facing up. And what that does is when you go to load the rod, it doesn't slam that tip down, it just straightens out, and that shoots your fly on target where you want it to go. So you take the rod, roll it up where the reel's upside. You're going to hold the fly and just hold it, put it in my fingers. You're going to come up a little above your eye level here if you can. You may have to go sideways. You can change the angle however you need to do it. But you want to get a little high. And when you pull back, you don't want this rod to dance around like this. You want it to flex just enough where it has enough energy to cast your fly. And that's your basic bow and arrow cast. Talking about the ways to hold it, I can do the same cast. People are always worried about if you hold the leader, it's going to hook you in the hand. If you let go of it, it's never going to hook you in the hand. So you don't have to worry about that. The rod up, pull back, flex it. With this fiberglass rod, I've noticed it really takes very little effort at all to get it to shoot the distance. You gotta find a way. If I wanted more distance, I could hold up here at the end of my fly line, and I can shoot the distance. So it's all the same thing. Roll the wrist over, pull back, make the rod flex, shoot the fly. That's your basic bow and arrow cast. Okay, so we showed you how to hold the rod how to let go of the fly. So this is where we actually start fishing the bow and arrow cast. You can, maybe Adam can see it over here. We got a little short run. I don't think there's any fish in it, but there could be. Well, that's gonna be a little hole there. A lot of limbs over top of it, so you just have a little angle in here. So how you aim with a bow and arrow cast is when you roll that rod over and you pull back, you kind of aim, it's almost instinctively like shooting a bow, but you don't want to have your rod too low because it won't go anywhere. You don't want it too high because it'll throw it in the trees. So what you want to do is use that tip of that rod to kind of aim it slightly in there, and when you let it go, it should float right in there. So I'll show that to you again. Flex the rod back, use the tip of the rod to kind of aim about where you want it to go, throw it in there. I'm gonna do one this time. If I hold my rod tip too low, I'll try to cast, it just piles it up at the end of the rod and it doesn't make it in there. I'm not gonna hold it too high because I really don't want to get my fly out of the tree, but if you hold it up here and shoot it, it's gonna wrap it up in the tree. So one thing you'll notice there, this is a little free tip when you're bow and arrow casting, is if you'll watch, I'm going to bow and arrow cast, and when my fly hits, I almost instantly lift everything but the fly off the water, so my line's not getting caught up in the current. And what that does, that allows you to have a drag-free drift. So your fly's hanging in there, it's not getting ripped down the current, you're not getting caught up in a bunch of sticks. So as we move up this creek, the next little pool we come here, it's got a stick on the back end, it's got a log over the top there, it's got this nice open window though. That's a perfect window to bow and arrow cast into. So we're gonna roll the rod up, come up, and when I cast on a small stream, we're gonna do a video later about how do we fish, but you don't want to throw the fly in the fastest water. If you can set it right on the edge, on the seam, you'll catch a lot more fish. That's a quick little pool there. So we'll come back, cast again. That time I actually caught the stick on my cast and it drug it out of there really fast. Gotta get my tip up a little higher. There we go, that's the drift we were looking for. You'll notice when you're doing this as well, at no point do we basically let go of the control of the line here. We always have control here under our cork. So that way if one hits it, we instantly are able to set the hook. I don't think there's a fish in that pool. Let's move up to the next one. All right, this next pool we're gonna fish is gonna be kind of this dead pocket up by this tree here. We actually have a good bit of casting space here, but we're kind of cornered in here beside me and out in front. So instead of holding my fly this time, I want to cast a little further. So I'm going to move up on my leader, maybe about 15 inches or so. That gives me the distance to throw my fly up in the pool. Gently bring it back, and again, put it up in there. On a good creek, that should have been a fish. Try it one more time just so you can see it good. Roll the rod. Watch these tree limbs, you got a little hole to shoot it through right here. And lift it back to you. That way there's really no chance of you getting hung up at all. Alright guys, so made it up to this next big pool. This is the biggest pool we've been to so far on this little creek. So there, I don't want to go real short because I want to make a good long cast up where the fish are at. So I'm actually going to go up here towards the end of my line. I can make a long bow and arrow cast here. You'll notice there's a stick in the middle. Don't let that intimidate you. I'm going to try to throw it right across it up above it. And if I hook a fish, he goes under the stick, he goes under the stick. So here we go. Well, Blue Liners, you made it this far. That's how you bow and arrow cast. Pretty funny, we actually came to a little blue line close to my house and had no fish in it, so you didn't see any fish in this video, but we'll have some fish coming up soon. But hope you enjoy it. Hope it helps with your bow and arrow cast. Remember to roll that reel over, get that arm up and let it go. Don't hold on to the fly. I think you probably saw me hook myself in there one time today. So hope you enjoyed this video and What's the next video, Adam?
I think we'll do some rod comparisons, some different lengths, and different carbon, fiberglass, stuff like that.
So stay tuned for that, and till next time, see you, Blue Liners.
See y'all.